Let's compare the 4x12 to the 1x12. Does size matter? That is today's question, boys and girls. Welcome to the ultimate guitar cabinet shootout. Today, we're gonna compare 4 cabinets, 1x12, 2x12, 4x12, and even a huge 6x12 cabinet. We're gonna find out how much the size of your cabinet, of your enclosure, actually affects your guitar tone. And if we do shootouts on this channel, we do them properly. That means we're gonna move the exact same guitar speaker into each one of those cabinets. You can follow me throughout the entire process, and you can even download some amazing IRs later. I have come all the way to Belgium. We are at the wonderful and very cozy and very beautiful Cathedral Cabinets workshop. And this is also some kind of showroom. And look, this is beautiful. They have a lot of cabs here that you can try. They have a lot of amps. They even have a KHE amp switcher, like in my studio. So you can switch between all those cabinets on the fly, bring your own amp or try one of those amps behind me. Really cool. If you're not familiar with Cathedral Cabs, I met Dre the first time at Guitar Summit last year, because I just saw that booth and I was like, wow, these cabs look so unique. All the cabinets are custom made and you can decide which speaker you want to have, which color you want to have, which grill cloth you want to have. Have a look at their website below. Really, really cool stuff. So come here, bring your amp and find the perfect cabinet for you. How cool is that? What we're gonna do today is this. I brought a Eminence Karnivore 16 ohm speaker all the way from Germany to Belgium. And you know why? Because UPS. I can't tell you how much I hate UPS. I actually sent a Karnivore here last week for 65 euros express shipment and they lost it. UPS. You suck big time. So I brought another one here, a 16 ohm Karnivore, maybe not the perfect Karnivore, but that was the last one I have. But the idea was that we take the same speaker, the exact same speaker, because as we all know, every single speaker sounds different, and put that speaker into each one of those cabinets, mic them with an SM57, and shoot some IRs so we can compare them on the fly. The cabinets that we're gonna try are all oversized. All the Cathedral cabs are oversized. I think the 4x12 is kind of close to a Mesa cab, a little different. Yeah, they're all slightly bigger than usual. That's how we like it. The 1x12 is called the Monk. The 2x12 is called the Priest. The 4x12 is called the Bishop. And 6x12 is the Pope himself. Is that correct?
It's the Pope.
It's the Pope. So it's time to work now. We're gonna probably spend the whole day here, moving cabinets, moving speakers, miking, shooting IRs. And one more important thing, this experiment is not about finding the perfect mic placement for each cab. This is really about finding out how much the size of the cabinet affects your tone. But if we have the time today, I will also try to optimize a few mic positions so you can download 1 or 2, I don't know yet, IRs later, some Karnivore IRs, so you can check out both the Karnivore and the Cathedral cabs and get an impression how they sound together. Time to get to work. Let's get started. Back in Germany, it is time to hear the results. And I can already tell you, size does matter. It actually makes a pretty big difference, and the results are very interesting. And what we've got here are 4 stereo audio tracks of the same riffs going through 4 different cabinets. 1x12, 2x12, 4x12 and 6x12. In this case, I was using the Bogren Rev C plugin. It's a rectifier emulation which has a lot of low end and a lot of high end. I kind of found that very useful for this comparison. Again, this is not about getting the greatest tones out of the cabs right now. It's really about comparing them. Okay. And this went straight into 4 different IRs of those 4 cabs. And now we can switch between them on the fly. In this case, all 4 cabinets are straight. We also had a slanted 2x12 in the room, but to make it a little more simple, here we're only using straight cabinets. I want to start with the 1x12, and it sounds like this. One thing I forgot to mention, all tracks are going into this EQ. I've added a high cut filter. Just to get rid of the very high sizzle, because I'm not interested in that. And I gotta say, this Karnivore, the one I was forced to use, had a little more sizzle than usual. So I'm cutting off at, I don't know, what was it, 10K or something. That already sounds quite nice. Now let's switch from the 1x12 to the 2x12. And what a huge difference. This is so interesting. Let's analyze this. I was expecting some of this. So I was expecting the 2x12 to sound fuller, which it does. It's a bigger cab, lower resonance. So we have a fuller sound in general. And if we go to the palm mutes, you can hear that the 2x12 just has more low end. It already sounds a little boomy. The Karnivore has a lot of low end. That's why I usually prefer to pull back the microphone a little bit. But again, this is not about making it sound perfect. The 2x12 clearly sounds fuller in the low end, but also in the lower mids. What surprised me is how different the upper mids sound. If we have a look at the EQ, and if we play the 1x12, I want you to focus on this frequency here. The very high, like 4 or 5K sizzle we have here. Focus on that frequency. It's interesting, it just goes away. It sounds like this. It's being shifted like somewhere here. And overall, it sounds a little softer because we don't have that super high sizzle and grind of the 1x12. The 2x12 also has a lot more of those mid frequencies compared to this. So with the 2x12, we not only get a fuller tone, we also get less of that 4 or 5K sizzle, and we get a more pronounced mid-range. And I kind of like it. I mean, they both sound good, but I kind of like this. I'm just surprised by how much the higher frequencies are changed. Let's move on to the 4x12. Let's start with the 2x12. Wow, again, what a big difference. And it's kind of like the same effect. It not only makes things bigger, it also softens the upper mid-range, which I really enjoy. So now the 2x12 sounds like it has a very prominent bump around here. Like, 4x12. At the same time, the 4x12 introduces a lot of what I call vocal lower mid frequencies around 500-600. This. So the 2x12 sounds scooped again in comparison to the 4x12. A lot more fullness in the mids. And of course, if we have a listen to the very low frequencies, let's go back to the palm mutes. I'm pretty sure the 4x12 will be thicker as well. And I gotta say, that's my favorite so far. I really like how things get bigger and softer the bigger the cabinet gets. I really like that. Let's compare the 4x12 to the 1x12. And that is massive. Remember, this is the same speaker, same microphone, same position. Palm mutes. All right, let's move on to the 6x12. And now we are totally expecting the 6x12 to sound even fuller and maybe even softer and darker in the higher frequencies. Let's see if that's the case. Let's start with the 4x12. And that is a surprise, because so far we had a beautiful story that we could tell. Hey, make your guitar cab bigger, and what you will get is more low end, a beefier sound that is also softer in the higher mids. But now, the final step to the 6x12 isn't really... I mean, it is getting fuller once again, thicker, focus on the lower frequencies, on the fullness. So it has more low end. Let's go to the palm mutes. Now, what surprises me is that it kind of brings back the higher sizzle frequencies of the smaller cabs. Maybe let's have a listen to the 6x12 and let's go back to the 1x12. And that is interesting, don't you think? They both have the same 4 or 5K sizzle there. The 6x12 just has so much more low end. But the 6x12 does not have the vocal mids of the 4x12 anymore. 6x12. This is what I mean. So the 6x12 is a lot more scooped, more aggressive in the upper mids, and has a big low end, which is a surprise to me. And I don't know why. I don't know why. One thing that might make a difference is the fact that if you have 6 speakers in one cabinet, you are forced to combine different impedance speakers. You have to combine 8 and 16 ohm speakers to get a total load of either 8 or 16 ohm. I'm not going to go into detail here, but this means, yeah, we have a combination of different impedances, and this also means that different speakers are driven differently, not equally hard. So some of the speakers in a 6x12 cab will be louder than the others. Maybe this makes a difference. I don't know. Because my expectation was that the 6x12 would sound even softer. Or we made a mistake somewhere along the way. So let's go from 1x12 to 6x12 and back one more time. In this scenario, I think I prefer the 4x12. I'm a 4x12 guy, maybe. But then again, I would mic them a little differently. So if I was miking the 1x12, it has so much sizzle, I would move the microphone away from the center to make it a little darker. I'm sure that sounds great. If I was miking the 4x12, it's a little too bassy, so I would probably pull back the microphone a little bit or just use a different setting on the amp. You got to fine tune every speaker, and I'm sure I would get a good result with every one of them. Let's talk about the IRs. We were working, I think, for 9 hours straight without a break. That was really exhausting. So I did not have a lot of time in the evening to create the perfect IRs, but I think I came up with something pretty cool sounding. I got 4 IRs for you, 2 completely raw IRs, one of the 1x12 and one of the 4x12, and then 2 more, same cabinets, 1x12, 4x12, where I fine-tuned the mic position and used some high and low cut filtering and some tweaking to make them sound a little more mix ready, and they actually turned out really nicely. I'm playing the Neural DSP Omega plugin. I think I haven't even touched it. And this is the 1x12 raw. Four by 12. And you will notice that the more low end an IR has, the quieter it will be played back. So the 1x12 will always sound louder. You have to compensate that for a fair comparison. But this is the 4x12. And the 1x12. And then I have the slightly fine-tuned version, 4x12. And 1x12. Sounds cool. So download them. If you want to download the IRs, follow the link below. What you got to do, you will see that, is create a free account in my academy, Kohle Audio Cult. And that means I will also annoy you a little bit with some promotional emails in the future. But that's the price for it. The IRs are completely free. You just need to create an account so I can annoy you. There's another link below to Cathedral Cabs, of course. So if you're looking for a new guitar cabinet, small or big, please check it out. They will also have some Karnivores in stock soon, so you can order a Karnivore loaded Cathedral Cab. Very cool. They will also be at Guitar Summit. So if you are going to Guitar Summit, please check out Cathedral Cabs. I think they're in the lowest floor, where Eminence will also have a booth, by the way. So there will be a Cathedral booth and an Eminence booth where you can probably meet me. I'm also doing some kind of a workshop at Guitar Summit together with Engel Amps and Eminence. So you better show up. And I see you at Guitar Summit, and I see Cathedral Cabs at Guitar Summit. Download the IRs in the meantime, leave a comment. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. I see you at Guitar Summit, or in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.